So the top flight teams and the rest of the SPFL return to action this weekend in the Scottish Cup, and I'm joined by Euan for today's Backpage video, which is really looking at the team that most people are talking about at the moment. Dundee United have really got some high praise this season for their performances. You've seen a lot of them. First of all, was the praise justified?
Absolutely. As you say, Gregor, I've been very lucky to have seen Dundee United in their two home games where they beat Partick Thistle 4-1 last weekend, and they beat St Mirren 4-0 before that, taking 4 goals off Motherwell in between that as well. I mean, they are not just the form team in Scotland. As far as I'm concerned, they're the form team in Britain at the minute, and I would count Arsenal among that. They are so entertaining to watch at the minute. It's a joy to be a season ticket holder, I would imagine, at Tannadice.
Just looking at the way they play as well, there seems to be a bit of grit about them. You hear about how hard they work off the ball, and then when they've got it, they really put the passes together as well.
Yeah, I mean, so much attention has been given, and justifiably, to Ryan Gauld and to Gary Mackay, Stephen Stewart, Armstrong, John Souttar, all these exciting young talents that they've got. But in the midst of that, we really need to single out the unsung heroes, guys like John Rankin, who plays an absolutely crucial role, a ball-winning role in that midfield, along with Paul Payton as well. They both add a real spine to that midfield and give the other guys, the youngsters, the opportunity to get the ball and the freedom to express themselves, knowing that they've got their backs behind them. Gavin Gunning as well, right beside Souttar, Souttar's a real prospect at centre half, but he's got Gunning beside him, who's very comfortable, very experienced, and is skilled with the ball at his feet as well. It can't be underestimated what a strong team unit United are, that it's more than just fancy tricks and flicks.
Are you surprised in some ways by how good a job Jackie McNamara's done, given the fact that he kind of came up from Thistle, he'd left them at a crucial stage in their season, and there was maybe a few question marks about whether he could cut it at this level?
Yeah, to be honest, I'm not surprised in the slightest about Jackie McNamara's impact at Dundee United. I mean, he had Partick Thistle playing fantastic football before he left them, and they were going up when he left. Although Alan Archibald did a great job to continue the momentum that Jackie had built up. But when you look back throughout Jackie McNamara's career, any time he's made a step up, he has more than risen to that challenge and took it in his stride. And he's not the type to get carried away. He does seem quite quiet, but he's a very driven individual, and I'm really not surprised at all by the job he's doing at Tannadice.
You did mention some of those exceptional young players. There was bids coming in for the likes of Sunderland for Souttar as well, but who would you say are the players that have really sort of caught your eye and are living up to the hype there?
Well, I mean, Gauld has obviously caught the eye. 17 years old, to make the kind of impact that he has made is astonishing. His vision is terrific, his weight of passing is perfection, and he can obviously dribble, and he's got an eye for goal as well, shooting from distance, so he's obviously going to get a lot of the plaudits. I think perhaps Gary Mackay Stephen mentions a real mention here, because he was perhaps in the same boat as Gauld when he first came through. He had all the tricks and the fancy footwork, and it got a lot of plaudits, but what he has now really added to his game is an awful lot of graft. He sees himself as doing the defensive duties first before he can go on and express himself, and I think he's really grown as a player. And if anyone was coming in, for any clubs were coming in January, I imagine that Gary Mackay Stephen would be the one that they would now look to, because he is ready to take the next step. But personally speaking, from Scottish football's point of view, I hope he's here to stay to the end of this season at least.
Looking at both the Glasgow teams, Celtic and Rangers, obviously Celtic go into this game against Hearts at the weekend off the back of a really poor performance in Europe. Rangers, meanwhile, are flying. They take on a team, Falkirk, a division above them, but it should be comfortable wins for both sides, do you think?
Well, I don't know about comfortable. The scoreline might suggest it, but when you look at it, Celtic are hurting. They're going to have a reaction from the Milan game. And Rangers are on such a good run at the minute, brimming with confidence, scoring goals. I really can't see them losing, tripping up against Falkirk either. So it might not be comfortable as such, but I think both teams will certainly go through.
And any other ties to look out for? Any other that might lead to upsets?
Well, I think the Inverness game is going to be very interesting, because you're looking at a team that are trying to move on, and after Terry Butcher, we're also trying to just keep the momentum that they've built up. And another good cup run for them would be very interesting. That they're already looking at the League Cup semi-finals. If they can build a Scottish Cup run on top of that, then I think they might be a real team to watch.
And who knows, if they do make it to a semi-final, the SFA will probably put that on at 9 o'clock in Edinburgh as well. Well, listen, thanks very much for joining us for today's Back Page, and don't forget to read all the pre-match news in today's Record, and of course in your Saturday paper as well. But for myself and Euan, thanks very much for joining us.